Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm TFR Wilderness and I'm bringing to you a KTRT review. Now, I wanted to do my other third party review, but unfortunately the package which they're in has been delayed, and I'm hoping it'll arrive before the end of the month, but my KTRTs have arrived ahead of them, so let's get on to it. I mean, this is obviously the usual things that I like to review on this channel, and so this month my KTRTs are based on a theme again, like I did back in the last year, and the theme is robotic stegosaurs. Yes, robotic dinos, stegosauruses. I've bought two this month from two separate lines, from two separate companies, but they're both based on cartoon shows that have been on or are currently on, Korean TV or YouTube. So, now today the figure I got is from a new toy line. A toy line that I haven't bought from before, called Jurassic Cops. Now, there is a TV show that goes with this, and it is being aired on YouTube currently. There's a Korean channel by the name of Lottie and Game. That's Lottie and Game. And Game is one word. I'll put it up on the screen for you. And so if you go onto their channel, you will find that they've been uploading full episodes of Jurassic Cops. And it's a fairly generic show. I mean, you've got a little kid and his friends, and they have these bunch of robots, which they're triple changes. They have like a vehicle mode, and then they transform into a robot, and then when they need to go into battle, the kid has this little wrist-mounted activator thing. He puts a little crystal in it, and then the robot dinosaur then transforms into a robot and does battle with the alien monsters. And speaking of aliens, in this show, the bad guys are a trio of alien creatures. There's the loud, brash, spiky-haired purple one. He's quite short, but he's got a big mouth. He likes shouting and screaming at the others. And then you got the tall, skinny green one, and then the big, fat blue one. And they drive around in like a burger van. And usually they have running with these bunch of kids, and the kids do something which annoys the aliens. So one of the aliens coughs up this machine, this like cannon, which the purple alien jumps onto, and then he shoots this hypodermic needle thing into a nearby inanimate object, and then that causes it to regenerate into a giant monster that then attacks. And so then the kid has to call in the Jurassic Cops, and they do battle, and it usually ends in the aliens getting defeated. There are 5 figures in the line. There's the Tyrannosaur police car in blue and white. There's the Triceratops fire engine. He's largely in red. You've then got the pterosaur or pterodactyl, pteranodon in green. You've got this guy who I'm reviewing, and he's a black bus transformer. And then you've got the brachiosaur, which is like a yellow ambulance, and it turns into a brachiosaur. Now in this show, because it's called Jurassic Cops, the names of the characters, they're sort of like an amalgam of the dinosaur name and the name Jurassic. So they start off with the word Jew, and then it's a part of the dinosaur name, like the Triceratops is called Jutops. The pteranodon or the pterosaur is called Jutera. The brachiosaur is called Jukio. And the tyrannosaur is quite unfortunate with his name. He's called Jurex, as in Jurex. And well, this might be fine and dandy in Korea, but in the rest of the world, the word Jurex means something else. I mean, it means a male contraceptive, amongst other things. I know it's spelt with a D instead of a J, but it sounds the same. And you know what Koreans are like for having words that sound very similar to something else. There's a lot of that going on. But anyway, so I've got effectively the 4th member of the crew. He turns on later. Turns up sort of like the later episodes, and I quite like his character. I mean, I've seen reviews of the other toys, and they look, the design and the the build quality on them looks very suspicious. I mean, especially the I looked at a review of the Triceratops figure, and the plastic on it looked very thin and fragile, and I thought, oh, I don't want to buy this thing. So when I waited and waited, and then this guy came out, and I thought, actually, I might go for him. He looks really cool. So the guy I've gone for is Jutego, and he is a Stegosaurus, and his alt mode is a bus. It's a black bus. So this is him in his alt mode. Now, before we get too great or deep into this review, we'll have a quick look at the box. So here's the box, and it's fairly typical Korean box. It's got like the shiny card in the back, a big window, lots of artwork on the front, usually CGI artwork from the show, the name of the character. You've got the Jurassic Cops logo up there. And you look on the side, it's got a picture of the robot mode, and then it's got pictures of the modes on the back, and then the free modes on the side. Now, these are made by a company called Choo Yong. Now, I don't know whether they've made any toys before, and this might be their first effort in doing, transforming robot toys, and it kind of shows. The build quality on this isn't quite as good as something from, say, Young Toys or Sonocon. It's good enough for what it does, but this figure on the whole, I found it to be a bit of a mixed bag. It's a triple changer with 3 modes. One of the modes is really good, one of them's a bit so-so, and the other one's a bit meh. So let's get into it, shall we? It also comes with a set of instructions, and also I bought this from a seller who I've never bought from before. I didn't get it from my usual guy, Mr. Soon, or a Korean salesman. I got it from a different guy. And in Koreans in February, they're a bit like the Chinese. They kind of have like some extended public holiday, a bit like the Chinese New Year. Something to do with the new moon or something. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but anyway. So around this time of the year, or the beginning of February, they have like an extended holiday, which means the postal service doesn't work for best part of a week. And both Mr. Soon, who I got my other KTRT from this month, and this guy, they both sent me messages to say there might be a slight delay in your package arriving because of this holiday. And the guy I got this from, he did apologise, and he sent me a little free gift as an apology. And he sent me a set of Marvel Captain America metal enamel pin badges, which was quite cool. So I got them in the package, so that was great. So what about the factual figure? So this is his alt mode, and it's a black bus, and it's really good. And I said about this thing being a bit of a mixed bag. Well, this is the best mode of the 3. Just to let you know, it's a big black bus. I have got another KTRT bus former, so I'll do a size comparison. This is Hello Carbot's Road Saber. Now he's quite a lot bigger, as you can see, about the same from the side. Weight wise, obviously this one's a bit heavier because it's larger. This has got a decent weight to it. It's decently painted. It's got like the chrome sort of Jutego logo on the side. It's got large wheels which spin really well. It's got details on the front, and then it's a bit bland on the back. And it's got like the hump on the top for the air conditioning. And yeah, it's a pretty smart bus. It's a fairly small bus. It's not a big bus like this one, though. I think scale-wise, this is a slightly bigger scale than this one. But even so, it's almost like a minibus type thing. But it's a great bus. It's fairly solid. It pegs together really well. And that's all you can say about a bus mode. It's a very, very good bus. So now, obviously this guy's a triple changer. We'll go into the next mode. And the next mode we're going to go into is his dyno mode. So start the transformation. You go at the front of the bus, and then you unpeg these front panels. Like so. And you bring them round, and then you turn them round. And then there's like a peg and a port. and they peg in to the sides like that. Now you then bring the dino head out, and then you've got the forelimbs, the front limbs for the dino. Then you come round the back. Now you can open the back of the bus, and then inside there's a tail, which ooh, that's tight. So you unclip that from there, bring out the tail, and also inside here you've got these little red pieces. So there's a little bit of parts forming on this guy. So you pull them out, they're just slotted in, and then you sort of fold the tail piece back down, and that's the tail. So we've got the front and the back of the stegosaur. Then you've got these red pieces, plug them into these slots on the top, wrong way around, and splay them out slightly, and that's the spines for the top of the stego. And then you've got these other pieces here which also come up and give you some more spines. And then we just go to the legs. Now the rear legs, you get this panel. You can sort of just unpeg that a bit, and then you've got to fold out the legs. Now bring down the legs, fold them round, fold out the feet, and you're pretty much there. And that is supposed to be the stego mode. Now, when you compare this with the CGI model, there are a few differences, most notably of which is his head. Now you can see here, his head is painted, well, he's moulded in a grey plastic. It's got a little bit of paint on the side, but for the most part it's grey, which is wrong, because in the CGI show, or the CGI model, you can probably see there that he has a black head, a black painted head. In fact, look on the back, you see he's got a black head with the red stripes that go back. So this should have the red stripes going round there, and his head should be painted black. So I'm a little disappointed at that he hasn't, his head isn't the right colour. Also in the show, these pieces here, they're sort of angled in like that, but because of the size of them, they sort of stick out the side. But I've been looking at this thing, and you can mess around with it to make it look a little bit more anatomically correct and show accurate, because also in the show he's got a pronounced hump in his back like a typical stegosaurus. So what you can do, or what I like to do, is with the legs, I sort of pull them out like that, and then you bring the legs down, and then do this on this side. So you pull them up, and then you bring the legs down like that, and you turn that round. You then give it the humped back, straighten the tail out, and then and there's something you can do to these things at the front. And you can kind of angle them panels at the front. And that, I think, is a lot more realistic looking stegosaur. You've got the hump in the back, it's got a nice long tail, I mean, yeah, he's got these ugly bits of vehicles sort of sticking out here. Obviously, and you get a bit of a gap in there. But I think he looks a little bit more screen accurate, and if he had a black painted head, then he'd be there. So the dyno mode is there's things about it that aren't quite right. It looks okay. It kind of looks like a stegosaur, mainly because of the red plates, armor plates on the back. But you know, you can mess around with the alt mode to get it, in my opinion, looking a little bit more screen accurate. So that's my sort of interpretation of how he should look in his dyno mode. So now we'll go on to robot mode. So take these off. Now you're mostly there because fold the tail up and then you peg it into the back like so. Fold those away. Put bring the things back around and peg them into the sides of the bus. And then the legs. Now you have to separate them like so. You get the dyno heads and you sort of stuff them away. Then you pull the leg out and then you twist it around and then straighten it up. And you take these pieces actually, let's do it the other side. So, get that out of the way, bring it out, spin it round, and then fold it in. And then the dyno head sort of stows in the back of the leg. And then you just got to get the feet out. Like so, and then you bring them round, and that's the feet. And then you've already got the arms, and then all we need is the head. So you pull the chest down, and then you flip up the head, and there he is in his robot mode. Quite involved transformation. The legs do, you know, a bit of a switcheroony to get him into robot mode, but the robot mode is pretty cool. I like it. Now, this is obviously the third mode, and in my opinion, the worst of the three modes. And why is that? Well, he looks pretty cool, and top half is all right, but engineering-wise, the legs are where this thing falls down, quite literally. The way the legs have been designed is a bit poor, in my opinion. But we'll start on articulation with the legs. Now, if we go round the back, you can see that the leg is hollow. Right? Now, if I look, it's completely hollow. So there's the knee here, and it moves that much because it hits the pivot for the dyno neck. Right? Now, because of that, the legs are this one especially is very rickety, and when you go to stand him on a surface, he wants to fall over backwards. I mean, the knees have one click of movement, and that one doesn't really click. But yeah, so there's not much substance to the legs. They've been poorly designed. I mean, when you look at the design of the CGI model, you look at it there, you can quite clearly see he's got double jointed knees and a thigh swivel directly above. This guy has single jointed knees, and you can see the knee, it hits this thing here. You see, that's as much movement as it does. So, yeah, the legs are a bit of a letdown. Moving up, hips aren't too bad. Goes that far forward, goes that far back. Can do a really good, a really good spread. So the hips aren't too bad. There's nothing at the waist. The arms, as you can hear, got very loud ratchets on the shoulders. They go that far forwards, that far back. Now he does have bicep swivels, and he's got elbows that go to 90 degrees. Does have a fist, but he hasn't got anything to hold in it. And the head, now the head does rotate, but it's very stiff, and it sits in this collar thing which sort of gets in the way. But you can give him a head rotation, but it's very notchy, and I don't think you're supposed to rotate it, but that's that. Don't know what I think these are supposed to slot back in, even though in the show these little things, they're like he can launch his spinal plates as like drones that fly around and create sort of energy portals, or can create force fields and things like that, and you can use them as drones to go around, photograph and film things, or do scanning duties on the other Jurassic cop dinos if they've been injured. But just stow them back in the backpack. Right, now, on the whole, it's an okay toy. It's a bit let down again by the engineering on the legs. If they'd give him double jointed knees and thigh swivels, I think this guy would have been a lot better. Size comparison. There he is next to Combiner Wars Meg. So he's a big boy. He looks cool. He's a good looking bot. Out of the 5 figures, this was the one I wanted to go for. I think he looks the best, and I thought he had working knees, but he obviously hasn't. Looking at some of the other figures, Jurex, the Tyrannosaur who transforms out of the police car, he's got an awful lot of kibble going on, and it's his toy, dino and robot mode don't look quite as good as the CGI model. The fire engine, again, he's got issues. I didn't like the build quality on it watching the Korean review, so I'll give that a pass. I was going to go for the pterosaur, but unfortunately he has legs that like telescope out of the thighs, and it was obvious that he didn't have any working knees, so that's why I gave that guy a pass. Otherwise I would have got him, because he actually, in terms of aesthetic, he looks pretty close to the CGI model. And then the Brachiosaur, again, it looks a bit weird, transforming from an ambulance into a Brachiosaur. So it's a bit weird. But then I decided to go for this guy. He's a character that I like a lot in the show, watching the show, and he's really cool. He's got an awesome head sculpt. He's got like this blue sort of wraparound visor, so he's got a pretty cool head sculpt. It's nicely painted in robot mode. He's got these extra sort of serrated bits around there which aren't on the CGI model. There are a few missing paint apps on it, but apart from that, it's pretty good. It's a shame he's got these chunks of plastic on the shoulders, so that does restrict the arm movement somewhat. He can't raise arms above the top of his head unless he uses his elbows. It's got a bunch of loud ratchets on it, but again, it's just let down by the legs, the poor engineering on the legs. They could have done better. I mean, they could quite easily, like I said, have given him fully working knees by having double jointed knees and bicep swivels, and that would have improved him no end. But as he stands, he's okay. If these are the first toys to come from this company, then it's a decent effort. What's it? Choo Yong toys. They're all right, but they're not quite in the same league as anything from Sonocon or Young Toys, because they've been doing it for so much longer. The build quality on their stuff is far superior to this. It is a bit, it's a bit rickety, and like I said, he's kind of back heavy and he doesn't really stand up that well, because these feet, they just sort of lock into place, and they're not angled. Even though his hips are angled, the feet aren't, so he's not really standing flat-footed on a surface unless it's a soft surface. So he's a mixed bag. Like I said, he's got a lot of faults, but there's some good stuff about it as well. So I decided to go for this. I doubtful whether I'll be going for any more figures in the line, though the show is continuing. It's up to about episodes 28, 29, or whatever it is. It's rolling on. The episodes are getting fairly generic, but it looks as though later on in the series there's a possibility that the dinos will combine into a combiner. It's certainly been hinted and suggested at, but whether it actually happens and they bring out another version that's a combiner of the 5 bots, I don't know. But for now, I've just got this guy. This is Jurassic Cops, or my review of Jurassic Cops Jutego, and he's the first KTRT I've got this month, going on the theme of robotic stegosaurs. So I'm going to review my other figure that I got. I'm going to do these reviews back to back, seeing as it's all set up for reviews, and I've got both of them here. So I'll be posting that one up in a few days' time. So hopefully you've enjoyed this review. I've been TFL Wilderness. I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.